This video, I'm going to be walking you through how to send from other Exchange proxy email addresses. So right here is my main account. SMTP in all caps means that's my primary account. And then these are added proxy addresses on testing 456 account. So there are two methods. I found there's an easier method that, interesting enough, it was not working for me, and then I go to make a video and it's working. So I don't know what the difference is about it, but I was going to show you that easy method. The second method is a bit more of a setup, but I've been using that method since Exchange 2003, and I do know it works reliably. The new method may work reliably as well. I don't know, you might just try it out. But basically, it was on this forum, on this blog post here, and I'll have this link on my website. It was right here, enabled to send as alias using PowerShell. So I went through these steps. Maybe I tried to send as the alias too soon, and so because this was a while ago when I set this up, and maybe now that's why it's working. Maybe there's some propagation time. So after you go through this method, I'm not going to show those steps. I'll basically just show how once it's enabled to allow that function, you basically go to new. And see, there's my successful attempt right there. I'm going to remove it and do it again. It'll remember it if it's successful. So if we go to other email addresses, go to testing. That's the run that I want it to show up as. Okay, send that off. Okay, and then here it is. I go to reply. There's the address that we typed in, and I can reply to it as well. One annoying thing, and it's the same for both methods, is actually when this comes in, when you reply, it doesn't auto-select the correct sending account. And I'll show you what I mean by that. So I had a rule to move it. That's why I did that. So rule move, it went to pivot, so I moved to the pivot folder. So let's open it. So if I do reply, and you'll see here, it's going to try and send from my primary account again, instead of the pivot account. So that the original message isn't there. So I mean, you could notice select the pivot account. It's the same problem with the other method as well. So if this method works for you, it would actually be a lot less setup and time and easier to do. One advantage maybe of the other method is you can auto-populate the signatures, and I'll kind of explain what that means. It'd be easier to explain when I create the pop account. But if I pick this account, the signature's not changing, it doesn't auto-pop in here. Because if I go to signatures, I only have that one account to assign signatures to. We're actually creating multiple accounts, so you can select other signatures to go with certain accounts. So I'm going to go ahead and go through that setup now. First thing to do is, if you have multi-factor authentication set up, you'll have to generate what's called an app password. If you don't have that, just go ahead and skip forward to the video here. To do the app password, basically you'll sign into your Office account, Office 365. So office.com. Here on the right, I'm going to click my account, go to view account. And security info on the left here. And looks like I had created it from a past one, so I'm just going to delete this one. make another to show you the process. It's pretty easy. We just click add method, and on the drop down we click add password. Now if you don't have that option, add password, you'll have to have your admin enable multi-factor authentication from the admin portal. Basically by doing this once they sign in. Let's go back to that. So add password. And then there's that password, which is fine if you see it, because I'll just be deleting it after. Okay, so that's that. We have that. I like to close Outlook. I don't think it's required though, but we're going to go to Control Panel. Then appear to type mail. If you have 32-bit, it'll look like this. Just have 32-bit after. Okay. We'll click email accounts, and then we're going to create a new one. It'll be manual setup. Next. This is a pop account. Next. So this is the name that you want them to see on the other end. So I'm just going to say Anthony Pivot. This email address is the proxy account that we're wanting to put in. So it's testing 123 at we don't care about any incoming messages because that's going to go in on the other main account, incoming messages one. This is just for outgoing, so it's smtp.office365.com. I do want to verify that address. Should be right. SMTP, yep. This account username will actually be your 365 user account name. So the main email address, which for this was testing 56. Paste that app password in. I like to uncheck this. More settings. Go to the outgoing server tab and check this box. Next advanced tab here. The outgoing server port is 587. And it's start TLS. Okay. And now we'll test the account. And if all works correctly, it'll look like this. We're getting an error for the incoming because we put no as a server. So we got a green check on the outgoing, so that's good. Close that. Next. And it's good to uncheck that. Mobile phone, finish. This does work on mobile actually as well. The process is obviously a bit different, but I have done it on the mobile. Next, we need to change the folder to put those sent messages into your main mailbox, not into the PST file that it created automatically. So click Change Folder. I'm going to expand the default account here and select the inbox. Click OK. Close that out. Close. And that. So now if I go to new, so there's two pivot customs. This one is from the other email address, so I'm going to remove that one just for so there's no confusion. This is the actual account that I just set up. So yeah, let's send a test. Here. This. Okay, that's right. And while that message is sending, Outlook does this. It sends a test email. So, my rule moved it again. So we're just going to delete that. There is one thing, you'll get a cosmetic error with this. If I go to like send receive, for example, there's this message down here because it's trying to receive on that account, which it can't. So To get rid of that, you can go to send receive groups up here, define the send receive groups, and we're going to edit. We're going to select the account we just set up and uncheck receive mail items, so it won't try to receive on that account. So now if we hit send receive, you'll notice the error's gone. This is just the cleanup steps. It's mostly cosmetic and cleanup, so you don't have to do it, but it's a good idea too. So for example, this one, it made a PST file here. We're going to close it, and I have to close Outlook because I'm actually going to go delete that file as well because I do not need it. It's in Documents, Outlook Files. Delete out of there. Let's see if we got that message. Looks like it did come in. So it's interesting, the second method is showing in as spam now. It wasn't before. So I'll have to investigate on why that might be. But if I hit reply, there's the account we're sending from. And send message back. And my rule is probably going to move it there again. Yep. And then we can see right here. See, it looks basically the same, but see, same problem. I hit reply. It does not select the correct from address, and it used to. That used to work just fine, actually. So I don't know what Microsoft changed, but it was something in the last year or so that stopped working, and now you have to manually pick the correct account when you're replying on some of these messages. If you want to create a rule, kind of like I have here, to separate it into a folder so you know what is where, or tag it with a category, it's basically up here in rules, manage rules and alerts. And yeah, I'll just show you. Here's the pivot one. So if it has the category in there, it's going to be a client only rule, meaning Outlook has to be open in order for that rule to process. So let's say I don't want that to happen. Like say I have to log in off the machine at the end of the night or something, then this rule won't process. So instead, I'm going to edit this rule to not have the category. Finish, and you see it doesn't have that after it now. So this rule should process regardless of whether this is open or not. But basically, it's just a simple rule saying when a message arrives with that email address in the header, move it to a certain folder. And so that's right here under this new rule. Apply rule message received, specific words, and right here, message header, and then I filled out that information. I do want to show you the signature thing, that this way it wouldn't, with the other easier method, this won't work, but you can do it for this. Let's discard that. So new message, I'm going to go to my signatures, and you'll see here, okay, here's my main account. Let's put this as the default signature for that account. And as you see, the custom is here, so I can say, oh, okay, I need the pivot signature for that one. Okay, close out, we do a new message. There's my default one. If I pick pivot, there's my default signature for the pivot account. One thing I just remembered that's probably worth mentioning is that if messages get BCC'd to you, this rule will not work. It'll work sometimes. It just depends on the server that's BCCing. Some do it differently, and so some strip out your email from the to, so the message won't process. One way you could maybe kind of get around that is actually adding a rule on your Exchange server instead, because the Exchange server will know where it's supposed to be going, but it does, when it finally gets to you, it's gone in the header. So if you go to your Exchange Admin Center under Mailflow and Rules, you can create specific rules for certain email accounts. It might not be ideal to do it this way, but just so you can tag, like for example, on this rule that's not enabled, when testing123@atlassaferooms.com is in the header, it puts at the bottom of the message, it puts this. So I knew that message was from. And the reason why I do that sometimes is because I haven't noticed it happen in my examples here, but the 2 here will be my primary account and not the 2 of the actual account. I'm not sure why it's doing that at the moment, but that's just something I ran into, so I wanted to point it out and let you know. Well, I think that about wraps up everything. If you have any questions, feel free to email me and reach out.